So recently, I've been posting a lot of math challenges to my YouTube page, to the Math Swap Tutoring YouTube page, and been getting a lot of responses. A lot of people trying them and having fun and whatnot. And someone actually made the following comment on a recent math challenge, and it read as follows: "You will never use this in your life. Name one situation." Now, there's obviously a Debbie Downer kind of slightly troll like kind of thing going on there. Because they didn't really have to do that. But I will say this on the other hand, valid argument somewhat. Why? A lot of kids are asking this question. Like, are you ever going to use this stuff in your life? Are you ever going to use geometry or trig or algebra, a lot of these things that we learn, these concepts that we learn, are you really going to learn them? It's valid, because think about it. We spend so much time in school. We literally have our kids in school for 13 years, and then they go off to higher education a lot of times. So I wanted to kind of think about this a little bit and, being one, with an engineering background who's taken a lot of complex math. I wanted to like really think, will you really use this stuff in your life? And there are instances where you would. Okay. So I want to talk about them. First of all, you'll use complex math in life, in particular, if you go for certain kind of majors that are based in math and science. Now, obviously, me, again, I'm an electrical engineer major. I took a ton of complex math, a ton. So if you're an engineering major, a mathematics major, obviously, you major in the sciences. Maybe you even major in certain kind of business related stuff that's like, very math heavy, finance, economics, stuff like that. Even like some of the computer fields and whatnot, you're going to need to take some complex math. So you're going to obviously use it there. Now, again, I'm pretty sure that this is not what the guy was talking about whenever he made his comment, like education. But I'll get there. The second thing is, if you are in a math or a science-based career, you could use it. But here's the caveat. Like in particular, if you are on the cutting edge, as they say. So if you're doing like research and development, like on the edge of space exploration, or if you're creating, if you're like an architect, or you're creating new things, these are the type of, you know, this is the type of math that you need. Okay. You're going to use it. Okay. Now, this is also true. Much of the math is already built into technology. What I mean by that, and if you're in the math or science based field, you know what I'm talking about. As an engineer, I wasn't going and measuring angles. I wasn't going and doing complex equations, because a lot of times those kind of things are already programmed into whatever software you're using. Okay. Now, I did every now and then make like a quick calculation, maybe like to calculate some sort of circuit related math, being an electronics engineer, but very occasionally. Um, but that said, one thing, and I think it's very apparent in the AI world that we live in now, one thing you don't ever really want to do is just kind of put all your eggs in the basket, one basket. In other words, what I mean in this case is, you don't want to just rely on the technology, because stuff fails, stuff is wrong sometimes. We've seen that with AI. AI is wrong, and so, but then we also have to remember it was humans who created AI. So it's like the minds behind that particular kind of technology um put that stuff in there. So it's like they're like the source, so to speak. And so you don't really want to put all your eggs in one basket. Okay. And then also, when you have an understanding of complex math, even if you don't use it, I guess just to kind of follow up on what I was just saying, it helps you to kind of be like a backup. Okay. And it helps you to understand whatever technology that you're working on. Okay. Now, the average person, to this guy's credit, is not going to be talking about sine, cosine, and tangent. It's not going to be, you know, doing different things with polynomials or radicals or different stuff like that. The average person is not going to do that. But I will say, you will still use math in your life. You know, it's going to be stuff related to a lot of times money, like you making purchases or, you know, putting money in the bank, making investments. Maybe you need to calculate some different kind of things like with medicine or with time. You're trying to like figure things out. Yeah, and it's true. That's lower level math. However, one thing I will say is that when you when you understand more complex math, that math becomes a lot easier. You have a lot more tricks, if you will, to kind of do lower level math faster. Okay. And so it helps. It stimulates your brain in a certain kind of way whenever you've taken a lot of math. And then the last thing I want to end with is this. Yes, you may not use some of these other complicated math things, but for what it's worth, complex math gives you a different perspective on the world. It enhances your imagination, in my opinion. It helps you to kind of see that it helps you to see the pattern behind the world. It helps you to kind of like have a different view of how all this stuff even works. It's pretty amazing. I had a electrical engineering professor, Dr. Clayton Paul, the late great Dr. Clayton Paul, and he said that math to him was proof that God exists, because whenever you really get into math and you kind of see how all this stuff works, you understand, you see the patterns. It's different kind of patterns and whatnot, and really that's really all math is. It's like this background stuff that just kind of helps us to understand how things are constructed, how things work. So math is pretty amazing. So, you know, like the guy said, you may not necessarily use some of the more complex math unless you are pretty deep into like a math or science profession, but it's valuable. Don't get me wrong. It's valuable. It's valuable beyond school too. Let me know what y'all think about my commentary. You can agree, you can disagree. It's all good. But let me know what you think. Hey, thank you for watching this video. If you need math tutoring or you need SAT math help, look in the description to find out how you can sign up today. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you stay in touch with Math Swap Tutoring on YouTube. Have a good one.